Hi Aquarius, this is Shieldmaiden Tarot. My name is Drew, and I'm going to be doing your April 1st to the 14th general reading for 2019. So just as a quick disclaimer, there are so many Aquarians on the planet. I'm not going to resonate with every single one of you. If I don't end up resonating with you, that's perfectly all right. I wish you love and light and that you do find someone who you resonate with. But if you do resonate with me, then I am so glad you're here. If you like my reading at the end, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And follow me on Instagram. I am at Shieldmaiden Tarot. So, Aquarius, let's get into your reading. Just a little spoiler for you. When I was pulling your cards and pre-shuffling, you got a lot of court cards. You got a lot of court cards, which tells me there are some major energies for the majority of you. Again, because this is a general reading, that's just what I picked up for the most of you. And let's see if this is what you're experiencing a little bit. So, what I like to do is I like to pull a overall energy card, and then I like to go into supporting tarot, and then I get into some oracle messages so that I can get some advice from Spirit and see what else Spirit has to say about your reading. The overall energy that I got for you guys, I got 2. So that tells me that a lot of you Aquarians are going into a lot of stuff. So the first overall energy that I got for you, Aquarius, was emotions and intellect in the reverse. And what emotions and intellect in the reverse means when it's reversed is basically an imbalance that needs to be addressed. So to clarify this imbalance that needs to be addressed, I pulled the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and the Four of Pentacles in reverse represents letting go, release, generosity, and sharing. The second card for your overall energy was the Counselor, and the Counselor represents someone who's very empathic, wise, has a lot of clarity, sharing, and emotional understanding. And as a card to support it, I got the Devil card. And I know the Devil card is like a really oh gosh, it's a scary card. The Devil represents addiction, mental health issues, dependency, and in some cases abuse. So let's grab all these together. There we go. So with all of these energies together, I got a lot of messages. There was a lot. So the first thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was I feel like, you know, how Mercury retrograde has recently left us. We're moving on from that Mercury retrograde. So I feel like a lot of you Aquariuses are letting go of things and people that no longer serve you. Especially with the Devil card here, because the Devil card represents addictions and dependency. I really feel like some of you have started to realize these things that are holding you back. These people are holding you back. These situations are holding you back. And you're kind of just letting it go. Which is great because, you know, we can't depend on people. We shouldn't depend on people. At the end of the day, we only need us to depend on. Another thing that I got specifically for these 2 cards was that some of you might be being too generous to the wrong people. And the reason I say that is because of the Counselor and the Devil cards being here. But, oh, whoops. Losing my cards. But because there is an imbalance here, you see how this circle is pretty much clear waters until you get to this part? And then with the Four of Pentacles also symbolizing you being a little too generous, I feel like there might be some of you Aquariuses who have not really figured out who you need to let go of, who is dependent on you, or you might feel like you need to keep someone around and you're using your generosity to keep them around. And if that's the case, you really have to ask yourself, is it worth it at the end of the day to drain my energy, to drain my resources, to have this person around? Especially if they're not giving you anything back. Emotionally, physically, mentally. Just if they're draining your resources, it's not a good combination. What I also got from this combination of cards is that some of you could be in the therapy field, whether it be for mental health, people who have been abused, because the counselor here represents a person who is there to listen to people and only interrupting when they have something that they feel needs to be said, and ultimately giving the best advice that they can. Some of you are involved in the mental health field or in addictions. Some of you could be working at crisis centers for abused people. You also, again, I'm coming back to this combination. You might be dependent on somebody, whether that be for your emotional needs, if you don't have a whole lot of money. I was just picking up on that a little bit. I also felt the need to talk to you guys about someone in your life who might be feeding you some wrong information, who might be offering you advice that's not necessarily correct, what you need to hear, what you want to hear. The only reason I'm offering this little eensy-weensy bit of intel is because with the devil, as we know, the devil is not a nice guy to be around, especially when he's got people in these kinds of situations, addictions and abuse and all that. And even the counselor being right side up, not... I just felt the need to kind of bring you to awareness that you guys need to be really aware of these people in your life. Are they there for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons? I don't want you guys getting involved with someone who's going to drain you and manipulate you and potentially put you in some, whoops, losing my cards, some nasty situations. I just want you guys to be aware of that. Just use your best judgment and use caution going forward. All right, so let's get into your supporting tarot. The first card that I got for your supporting tarot was the Three of Air. And the Three of Air represents study, education, guides and teachers, and also comprehension. And to support this card, I got the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles represents independence, financial stability, success, and reaping the rewards you get when you work really hard for something. The first thing that popped into my mind with these is that some of you might be going into school, getting a degree, furthering your education somehow, or just taking some sort of class that's going to enhance any skills that you have. I feel very strongly with these cards showing up that, especially during April and going forward, you're either going to see a lot of results paying off for your studies, or you're just going to feel like you're more you're more capable and aware of what's going on in your studies and your fields or your industries, and you're going to be one of those people who, instead of going to someone and asking them for their advice. You're going to be this person. You're going to be the counselor. You're going to be able to tell someone what the best thing to do is or what the answer is. So the tables will turn for you. Some of you also might be paying more attention to your spirit guides, being more aware of your spirituality. Especially here in this card, we can see him with the dragon over his shoulder. Dragons are known to be, you know, obviously mythical, and they're also known to be good teachers. So I feel like a lot of you are going to be comprehending more spirituality within yourself, or you could be seeking it out, going into personal study, and you're going to kind of reap some benefits for it. Either you're going to be really good at giving other people advice, or you're going to be able to educate other people and kind of show them another way of looking at things from a spiritual point of view. It also, especially with the Nine of Pentacles showing up, some of you could be dealing with a woman who is confident and independent and financially stable. It doesn't have to be a woman. It could just represent somebody in general. Don't get hung up on the gender of the cards, please. It could just represent someone in your life who is financially stable and is independent. But I feel strongly like you might be dealing with someone who could be maybe a coworker, a female boss, a mother, aunt, cousin, sister, whatever the case may be. Again, it doesn't have to go for every single one of you. This also kind of tells me that for those of you who are going through school, you're grinding at your studies, you're spending nights awake trying to grind, get that education, study. And while I want to tell you guys that, you know, be aware that you have to take care of your own needs. It can't be all work, school, and study. But for those of you who are grinding and kind of getting closer to where you want to be with your education or classes in general, I feel very strongly like with you, you might be thinking about getting the finer things in life, because you know the stereotypical college student, you know, eating KD or ramen noodles, just the cheap stuff. So while you're eating that KD or that ramen, you're just like, man, I'm going to enjoy some lobster when I'm rich and successful. You might look at your clunky old Honda car and just be like, ooh, that Lamborghini's gonna feel so good sitting in my garage of my mansion. Some of you might not be thinking that you're gonna be living in mansions or having expensive cars or expensive dinners, but certainly might be thinking of things that are better than what you have now. A few of you also, my words, what the hell just came out of my mouth? Some of you might also be thinking about retirement, especially with the Nine of Pentacles right here. Might be thinking about retirement, might be looking into how you can retire early, or just putting in plans into motion to get into your retirement. I also, when I was drawing these cards, I heard stock market. So if that applies to you or anyone that you're involved with, maybe this woman right here, this financially independent, successful woman, might be dealing with the stock market. I don't know if that applies. Take it as you will. The second card that I got for you was the Queen of Fire. Ooh. And the Queen of Fire, she also is a independent lady. She's very in touch with her sensuality, her sexuality. She's energetic, and she exudes confidence. And it's funny because when I clarified your card, I got the High Priestess in reverse. And the High Priestess in reverse, she represents intuition, self-doubt, and neglecting yourself. Again, neglecting yourself during your studies. This is just Spirit reminding you, don't neglect your needs. But with these two cards together showing up, I feel like some of you Aquariuses are kind of lacking some confidence in yourself. You could also be ignoring your intuition. Something might be telling you about this counselor who might be the devil energy. It might be telling you not to be so generous to certain people. And also, it's funny because these two cards showing up were kind of confusing for me because they're very conflicting energies. The High Priestess is like one side, and then the Queen of Fire is another side. They're very opposite of each other. So I feel like some of the Aquariuses right now are dealing with their confidence kind of being kicked to the ground, you know, shot down a little bit. It's like you're in this energy of holding yourself back because of outside opinion and self-doubt, but you want to be this fiery, passionate, no nonsense type of queen, you know? Or some of you are just in this energy right now, and you usually are like this, but something's just kind of knocked you down a peg. Who hurt you? Okay? Who hurt you? It's Aries season. I'll get them. I won't actually though, because, you know, love and peace. Love and light. But that's what I got for these two cards. And the third supporting tarot that I got for you, Aquarius, was the King of Air. And the King of Air, he represents someone who's very disciplined, very ethical, sticks to the rules, respects the rules. And to clarify the King of Air, I got the Ace of Wands in reverse. And when the Ace of Wands is in reverse, it symbolizes lacking initiative or assertiveness, and also also you might be a little bit too intense right now. So I got a lot for these cards. The first thing that came to my mind is that there's always a reminder of something to learn. With the Ace of Wands being here, I feel some Aquarians might be feeling like when they are getting to this point where they've learned and their success is paying off and they've become the counselor, that they might not need to learn anything. They might be the only ones who you come with when you're asking a question. That is so far from the truth, it is laughable. We are, in this lifetime, eternal students. We are never done learning. And if you do feel like you are done learning about something, that is seriously stunting your growth, in my opinion. So with these two cards, it's just there's always something to learn. Another thing is you might be a little too intense for people, especially with this King of Air. He's very rigid at times. He knows his stuff, and he's not very easily persuaded. And with the Ace of Wands, you might, again, it's just the intensity level of these two cards is, I felt like it was funny because when I picked these two cards, I felt a little bit of a sting in my throat out of nowhere. And that kind of made me feel like either you Aquariuses are being too intense to other people, or other people are being too intense to you, which could kind of maybe lead to you being in this stuck, conflicting energy. But again, with energy, it's kind of hard to pin down because it could just be people in your energy. It could be you. It could be you in the future, you right now, or you in the past. kind of difficult to figure out, but that's what I grabbed from these two cards. Also, just try and see things from different perspectives. As you can see in this card right here, there are some eagles there. Eagles represent seeing things from higher perspective, obviously, because, you know, they're in the sky. They do that to hunt and see stuff. But definitely going back to that, there's always something to learn. Just try and see things from other perspectives, especially if you're feeling like your confidence is a little lacking, if you're stuck and you're not taking care of yourself, if you're dealing with someone who is taking advantage of you or is not necessarily that great for you, if you're being too generous, these are telling you to just take a look from a higher perspective, try and see outside the box, meditate on it a little bit, listen to your higher self, kind of see what is there, what your guides, what your higher self is telling you. So Aquarius, that was your tarot. Let's get in to your oracle cards. So the first oracle card that I got for you was the forgiveness card. And forgiveness reads, healing comes from acceptance. Help me, dear Lord, to fully accept what is, knowing that this alone will open me to the new. Right off the bat, I got the feeling that it especially came from these cards. To those of you who are dealing with people or whatever has kind of made you doubt yourself and put you down, I feel like Spirit is calling on you to forgive them. Because a person who is in the right state of mind and feels very relaxed and okay with themselves doesn't feel the need to put people down, doesn't feel the need to make them feel like they're inferior. And if you are dealing with someone who is like that, you have to think, if they're saying these things to you, if they're doing these things to you, how hard do you think it is being in their brain? I can't imagine being in the mind of someone who constantly feels the need to put people down like that. So with this card, forgive them and forgive yourself. You don't need to forgive and forget. I feel like the forgive and forget trope is it's such a dumb thing to say. Because if we forgive and forget, we're basically not learning the lesson. Whereas if we forgive but we never forget, it's us giving ourselves the opportunity to say, I dealt with this the best way I could at the time with the skills and the opportunities that I had. And also realizing that this person might have done you wrong because they felt a certain way about themselves. It's giving yourself and this person the closure, but remembering the feelings and the lessons that you learned from it so that moving on, you don't get into a situation where you're feeling like this, or you're dealing with a person like this, or you're stuck in a situation where you're being too forgiving, too generous. You know? But that's just what I got from this. Also, search for your happiness. If someone told you that you can't do something or you shouldn't be doing something, if it doesn't hurt you, if it doesn't hurt them, just search for your happiness. Just do it. It's your life. This life is way too short to listen to other people who don't want you to be successful. Too short. The second card that I pulled for you was I Heart You. And the little note at the back says, if everyone really knew how much they were loved, not only from above, but by those now in their life, there'd be little hearts drawn on everything from wheelbarrows to skyscrapers and jumbo jets, and I so look forward to that day. We all know that our guides and our angels and our spirits, we all have them. We all know that they love us unconditionally, but it's also about loving yourself. If you love yourself, and you know that you're on your right path, you know you're doing the best you can, you know that you're heading towards a place where you're going to be in a better headspace, you're going to be with people who aren't taking advantage of you, you're going to be your own counselor who doesn't have to deal with that, then I feel like it's going to be a lot better for you moving forward. So also with my readings, I like to pull an animal spirit guide to see who is helping you at this time. And Aquarius, you got Boar. You got the little pig. And what his card says is, face your problems head on with confidence and courage, and you will emerge victorious. So of course, boars, they're not the littlest creatures, but they're not the biggest creatures. But with all animals, they have a need to survive. And I feel like right now, some of you Aquariuses are just trying to survive. And that's perfectly okay. We don't have to live every day like it's an absolute joy to be in and that we are so grateful to be where we are right now. Thing is that you are where you are right now because that's where you have to be in order to learn some lessons to get to the places where you need to be, where you're not dealing with all of this crap, all of these crappy people right now. If someone is draining your energy and your resources, cut them off. I know I make it sound so black and white. I know there are so many gray areas. Trust me, I've been in that situation before. But you just have to do what you need to do. You need to be selfish. And I realize that the word selfish is such a hot topic word because we're encouraged not to be selfish. We're encouraged to be generous. But Aquarius, you're already being so generous right now. You need to be generous to yourself. You need to cut off people who don't benefit you. You need to be out of situations that don't benefit you. And once you do, Boar is right there. He's going to help you charge through and be victorious. And finally, the last card that I got for you was the Shaolin Master. And the Shaolin Master says, be graceful in movement and action. So this is a great card to wrap it up because while I also feel like this has to do with toning down the intensity that you might have with other people, it's also telling you to be graceful and be quick. If you're avoiding a situation, if you're putting off doing something because you don't have any drive to do it, get it started. You don't need to boast about it. You don't need to make a big deal about it. Just take small steps. You don't need to make a big grand gesture and let everyone know what you're doing. Just do it for yourself. Even the smallest things help. Do things that make you confident and gain back that power. Or if you want to be like that, figure out what you want to be. How do you think you're going to get there? If you want to be more confident, figure out how to make yourself look the way you're going to like to look in the mirror, how you want to feel on the inside. Manifest that, ask for the help of your guides, and they will deliver it to you. Get through your schooling, take care of yourself. You don't need to make a big deal out of it. You don't need to let people know how much you're suffering or how much it sucks. Just get through it. Be thankful that you have the opportunity to get an education, to go through these classes. People who are draining you, cut them off. You don't need to give anybody an explanation for who you want to keep in your life. It's your life. You can do whatever you want with it. You deserve to have the peace of mind of having only people who are deserving of you in your life. And tone down the generosity. I know it's a great thing to be generous, and we need a lot of generous people in the world, but you need to be generous to yourself, especially with cutting people off who do not serve you anymore. So Aquarius, that was your reading. I hope you enjoyed. And again, if you did, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and to follow me on Instagram. And I will see you in the second half of the month for your next reading. Bye, guys.